The year is 1986. A soon-to-be internet legend was watching television when an ad came on saying that if you wrote the government, they would send you information. So this brilliant child, prodigy if you will, did do so. And in there they had a list of documents they would send out, and one was protection in the nuclear age. And this here is a very manual that I got at that time, and it's from the Federal Emergency Management Agency. And inside here, and it says here is June 85, so I guess it was probably like a year old when I got this. And inside here, basically it talks about what you can do about surviving a nuclear attack. And it goes to here's the contents. It talks about the effects of nuclear weapons, warning, population protection, and shelter living. And it has a appendix where there's permanent shelters, the fallout shelters, above ground and in ground and so forth, and trench and whatnot. And here's a little diagram there about the blast radius of a nuclear bomb. And one thing I think people even today don't realize, I mean, this is like obviously during the Cold War, and when the Berlin Wall came down, I can remember when I was watching CNN and I saw that Berlin Wall come down chip by chip, and I was just sitting there in amazement on my 19-inch black and white TV, sitting there in my room watching this happen. I never thought that wall was coming down, even at that age there, because this Cold War was so serious and so blatant. That I remember really thinking about that, especially after watching the movie the day after, that, we could get nuked any time in a lot of ways. So I think today people kind of don't really think about nuclear explosions very much, or it's happening and so forth. But what happens is, okay, obviously here it says basically at ground zero of it, about 0.24 miles, there's nothing left, nothing. Then within 1.7 miles, destruction of all except specially designed facilities. 3 miles, severe damage to all commercial type buildings. And then it says like many fires and so forth. 5 miles out to that point there. And then to 7 miles, light damage to commercial type buildings, moderate damage to small residences. And you can kind of see there that in that 7-mile radius that things survive. I think people are under the misconception that after a nuclear bomb goes off, that everything is destroyed for 1,000 miles or whatnot. That's not really to the case there. And probably the thing that's most likely to kill you, unless you're at ground zero area, is going to be the fallout. And on here it talks about the magnetic pulse, that you basically there it is, that your car is not going to be able to drive at that point there. What would happen to people? And it talks about this. Most people within a few miles explosion weapon would be killed or seriously injured by the blast, heat, or radiation. People in lighter damage areas would be in danger both by blast and heat effects. However, millions of people are located away from the potential targets. For them, survivors of light damage, radio fallout would be the main danger. And anyways, what is fallout? There's a picture of what fallout is and so forth. And so basically, it goes through here, and this is what a lot of folks don't really understand. Let's say that there's fallout going on. The half-life goes down exponentially. Basically, if you can hunker down for about 3 days with as much stuff around you, you can survive very easily at that point there, and you almost have like no radiation. After like 2 weeks, almost like 99% of it's gone. After like 3 or 4 days of it, 88-90% of it's gone. So it goes down really quick if you can survive. So it talks about 1 hour, 1,000 RH, the radiation level. After 7 hours, it goes down to 100. After 49 hours, 10. After 343 hours, it goes down to 1 an hour. So you can see that it's not impossible to survive it. And I think a lot of folks just think that, hey, it's over. It's in game, man. It's over. No, it's not over. Whether you want to or not, you're going to be alive if you're not at ground zero on this. So it talks about other things, alert signals. And here's something you don't see anymore. I used to see these on buildings all the time. And these fallout shelters, I guess, just aren't there anymore. Actually, those signs are kind of valuable, I guess, on the eBay and whatnot. I actually had a couple of friends, I think, that bought some of those. And it talks about how to build a fallout shelter, where's the safest place in the house, to be at. Basically, you just want to have a lot of layers around you. And it goes through here, talks about concrete and wood and books and all sorts of things, and it talks about how to build a shelter and so forth. So, anyways, I don't really think you probably can't get this book anymore. And I don't know if folks really think about this as much anymore. And is the threat still there? Yeah, I mean, even if it's like an accident, the threat could still be there. So it's just, it's always good to be prepared and kind of know what you could do and how you can survive something like this. And here they had some really detailed how to make fallout shelters and whatnot like that. And and a lot of this stuff, like, if you haven't done this like well before a nuclear bomb's gone off, it's probably not going to be good. And I think one of the signs in here is, watch for political unrest around the world to kind of prepare. And it talks about, how much water you need, how much food you need to have, how much sanitation. And the other thing about this, I think it's a common mistake that people think that radiation makes food bad. No, it doesn't. You don't want any fallout, but the radiation itself just goes right through the can. Right now I'm getting hit by radiation all the time on there from the sun and other places from space, I guess, as well. So anyways, so even back then, I guess I wanted to survive survive in a nuclear age. So this is kind of interesting, and it really is a piece of history in a lot of ways that we really don't. I mean, I don't know anybody hardly really thinks about this too much anymore, and I don't know, maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing. But it is kind of interesting that I was digging through some stuff and I found this, and I used to actually carry this around at school. Man, that's how cool I was back in high school. I actually carried this around. And I remember one time, one history class, the teacher was talking about this, and I said, "Yeah, I got right here. I got a book on how to survive a nuclear war," and I think he was quite speechless at that moment there. So, anyways, you might find this book somewhere on the internet. Probably someone that scanned it in, and it's a public document. So, we all pay for it with our tax dollars. At least if you were around in 1985. So, anyways, protection in the nuclear age. Get this book. Survive in the nuclear age. And I'm sure on the internet, if you're actually curious about this, you can learn a lot more about how to prepare, or at least kind of think about what happens. Probably more likely what would happen is a smaller type of nuclear bomb, like a dirty bomb going off. One thing to kind of set your minds at ease, because some of the research I've done, I think you hear tell like there's hundreds and thousands of these suitcase nukes that are lost, that no one knows where they're at. Good news. Those things are like babies. If you don't take care of them, they don't work. So if someone took them and didn't know how to take care of them or how to maintain them, they're not any good. So you can sleep well at night knowing that pretty much all the suitcase nukes probably that are missing probably are useless at this point here, which is a good thing, very good thing. Anyways, some food for thought. Got any comments? Put it down there if you remember some of these things. I think it was Pebble, Colorado. I had it right in there. They used to have those commercials, and now with the internet, you basically can just find all this stuff on the internet now. Anyways, rock and roll, and stay non-nuclear.